I am not a historian, but neither are you. So, how about we, the people, learn this stuff together? Welcome to US 101. And unfortunately, guys, I do have to tell you that this is going to be the last time that you see this set. And the reason is because this coming weekend, guys, I am moving out of my apartment. I am moving out of this space into a new location. My fiance and I are moving, and I was packing away some stuff this weekend, as one does before they move, and I took this off of my wall. God, this thing is a lot bigger than I thought it was. This, guys, if you don't know, is a replica of the Bill of Rights. The original Bill of Rights that you can see at the National Archives in Washington, D.C. This hangs on my wall in my apartment. No, I'm not a nerd. Shut up. And I didn't really think much of this document when I bought it. I mean, I looked at it and I know what's on it, but I didn't really think much of it until I, took it off the wall, looked at it again, and I was reminded that the original Bill of Rights had 12 amendments, not 10. Because originally, guys, the first draft of the Bill of Rights that was approved by Congress in 1789, which was penned by James Madison, a future president and also a slave owner, that had 12 amendments. Well, I mean, at one point it had 20 amendments, and then it had 17 amendments, and then it went to 12, and then it went to, you know what? Let me just tell you guys a story. So first and foremost, what are the Bill of Rights? Plain and simple, they are the enumerated rights of all individuals living in the United States. And the Bill of Rights, we've been hit over the head with the Bill of Rights ever since we were small kids, and we probably know a few of them by heart. I mean, obviously there's the First Amendment, which protects freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to assemble, and freedom to petition. Then you've got the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms and to a well-regulated militia, even though no one says that part anymore. And then there's the amendment that guys absolutely love. Gentlemen, you know what I'm talking about. It's the amendment that you invoke when your girl calls you out as to why some other girl is suddenly blowing you up on Snapchat all the time. Of course, I'm talking about the Fifth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment, which means no one has to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime, aka you plead the fifth, gentlemen, which then means we smash cut to your girlfriend kicking you out of your apartment and then throwing all of your stuff out the window and sending your relationship into an abrupt ending. I hope Lauren was worth it, fellas. But then you also have to remember that the only reason that a Bill of Rights exists in the first place is because the people that called themselves the anti-federalists during the era of the making of the Constitution wanted one. They wanted rights of the people written down on parchment to assuage any sort of fears that the government, the federal government, was going to be this all-encompassing, all-powerful entity. They wanted people to be able to read their individual rights. So when the Bill of Rights was presented to the Congress in 1789 for approval, James Madison, the author of the Bill of Rights and who has been dubbed the father of the Constitution, originally had 20 amendments or 20 articles in that Bill of Rights draft. And when this first draft went to the House of Representatives, they looked it over, they debated, they discussed it, and along with James Madison, cut it down from 20 amendments to 17 amendments. So what were these 17 amendments that got approval from the House of Representatives? Well, basically all they were the amendments that would later be, approved by the Senate, except in a slightly more extended form. Think of this version of the Bill of Rights as like a director's cut, the longer version, the extended version, if you will. What do I mean by that? You look a little confused. Okay, I'll give you an example. In this first draft, the Third Amendment, or the third article, as it was listed, read as thus: Congress shall make no law establishing religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, nor shall the rights of conscience be infringed. And then following that, the fourth article or amendment said, the freedom of speech and of the press and the right of the people peaceably to assemble and consult for their common good and to apply to the government for redress of grievances shall not be infringed. Those two articles sound kind of familiar to you? So after the extended edition of the Bill of Rights passes approval from the House of Reps, it then makes its way to the floor of the Senate, where more editing is done, more fixing up is done, so it becomes a much tighter, a much neater document. Which meant that in the Senate, the original third and fourth articles that I mentioned earlier now became, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Ergo, in the Senate, the number of amendments or articles drops from 17 to 12, and this final version of the Bill of Rights gets congressional approval on September 25, 1789. Now, in the 1789 version of the Bill of Rights, let's take a look at it right here. Okay, the amendments that we know today as 1 through 10 originally were 3 through 12, which means today's amendment, that is number 1, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, was originally number 3. The right to bear arms, which is the second amendment today, originally amendment number 4. So what were the original number 1 and number 2? The original First Amendment was the following. After the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be one representative for every 30,000, until the number shall amount to 100, after which the proposition shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall be not less than 100 representatives, nor less than one representative for every 40,000 persons, until the number of representatives shall amount to 200, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall not be less than 200 representatives, nor more than one representative for every 50,000 persons. Jesus Christ, Madison, what the hell? So many words. It's one amendment. Allow me to untangle that web of for you if you got a little confused. Basically, that amendment was simply laying out a formula as to how many people could serve in the House of Representatives according to the population of the United States in 1789. Why didn't he just write that? Would have just been oh, look at all my flowery language. I'm James Madison. Luckily, Madison had used up a lot of his energy writing that First Amendment, which is why the original Second Amendment is significantly shorter. It states the following. No law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. Basically, that amendment says that members of Congress cannot give themselves a pay raise until there's an intervening election of members of Congress. And if that amendment sounds a bit familiar to you, you'll find out why in a minute. So even though these 12 amendments had gotten approval from Congress, they still had to be ratified by 3/4 of the state legislatures. So in October of 1789, President George Washington sends out copies of the amendments to the state legislatures, and the state legislatures don't get back to Congress until December of 1791, when 3/4 of the state legislatures had ratified 10 of those 12 amendments. And those 10 amendments that they ratified are the ones that hang in your U.S. history classroom in your Bill of Rights poster that your teacher has put up on the wall. They are the 10 amendments that you are familiar with today. The first 2 did not make the cut. Well, kind of. Because remember when I said that the original Second Amendment may have sounded familiar to some of you? The reason is because in 1992, Congress made that amendment the 27th Amendment of the Constitution. I gotta be honest, I'm kind of pleased with myself, man. An entire episode of US 101, all because I'm moving to a new apartment and all because I'm packing this away. See, guys, you can literally find history anywhere. Specifically at the thrift store for $12.45. This is a hell of an investment. You know, I also have the Declaration of Independence, same frame. I bought them as a set. I crushed it at the thrift store that day. Ooh, killed it. And that, my friends, is it for this episode of US 101. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, man. I really do appreciate it. And thanks to all of you that have subscribed to the channel. We recently surpassed 5,200 subscribers. Guys, thank you so much for the support and the continued love you're showing the channel. I appreciate it. And welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you guys for watching the videos, for liking them, sharing them, leaving comments in the comment sections below. You guys are my favorite people in the world. Seriously. As always, you can follow US 101 on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, patreon.com/US101 if you guys want to show the show a little bit of love and donate some money so that we can get new and better equipment. Guys, I will see you next Tuesday with an all-new episode of US 101. So until then, I am all done. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed this set. I don't know what the new set's going to look like in the new apartment. I got to figure out the scheme and figure out exactly where I'm going to film. But I'll figure it out. It'll look good. I hope it looks good. I hope you guys will watch if it looks okay, right? Please tell me to still watch.